One of the most frequent requests we get is how to coach people to have tough conversations. Tough conversations conjure up a lot of fear. Most people would rather avoid having the direct conversation, but certainly that can create another problem as we tend to do what? Confide in others, talk in groups, get to the water cooler, share our thoughts and feelings about another person we haven't given ample opportunity to even chat with. So fear of conflict has a lot of repercussions to it if it is not handled correctly. Now, the number one reason people don't have the conversation is one, they don't know how. Number two, they don't practice it. And having tough conversations, there's a certain lack of control that terrifies people. And that's the reaction of the other person. So let me walk you through 3 really easy steps. 1, use a permission-based question. Sitting down with someone and saying, Tom, would you mind if I shared with you a really unique perspective where I think we could work more effectively together? So there's 2 other concepts I'd like you to write down. And there are 5 words I want you to use. So the first thing I'd like you to write down are the 5 words. We, share, opportunity, perspective, and observation. So when you ask for permission, Tom, would you mind if I shared with you a perspective where we have an opportunity to work more effectively together? Doesn't that sound friendly and more proactive than I'm really frustrated with you? Number 2, use the sword. The sword is where you own why you're approaching this person. Let me give you another example. Tom, would you mind if I shared with you a perspective where I think we have an awesome opportunity to work more effectively together? And the last thing I want to do, Tom, is make some assumptions of where you're coming from. And that's why I wanted to get your permission to ask you a few questions. So when you use the sword, you're basically saying, so I don't make assumptions. This is why I'm asking the questions. That way, that person becomes less defensive. And 3, I always encourage people, if you're uncomfortable, tell them you're uncomfortable. If somebody has a fear, tell them. So for example, Tom, would you mind if I shared with you a couple different opportunities where I think we could work more effectively together? I don't want to make assumptions of where you're coming from, and quite frankly, I'm a little bit nervous about having this conversation, because if I don't handle it well, I don't want it to affect our relationship. When we're honest about our lack of comfort, people automatically become more sensitive. So again, ask a permission-based question. 2, use the sword so I don't make assumptions. And 3, if you feel hesitant, share that, because it leads to authenticity of the conversation. Good luck.